our speaker tonight is one of the most favorite speakers in our club. Every time he speaks, we expect at least three people to show up. And invariably they do. But as you can see, he's a draw tonight. And we were talking. You may have heard a thing or two about artificial intelligence recently. What do you think? Huh? Yeah. And Tony's a pro at it. So without further ado, let me give Tony Brockliffe a hand, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Tonight's seminar, hybrid live webinar, is, as you know, all about artificial intelligence, which you may have been hearing about a lot more in the last year. It's been around for 20, 25 years. I actually built my first AI chatbot 25 years ago. But in the last year, it has started to skyrocket, as you'll see in a moment. Just at the very beginning here, just so you guys know who I am and whether you might be worth hearing what I have to say. What I'm about to say is not to brag in any way. It's just to let you know that I've been doing stuff on the internet for 25 years. In that time, I've made as many mistakes as can be made. And so part of my mission these days is to teach others this stuff so that you don't have to waste the time and money that I've wasted in the 25 years making those mistakes. So I started out in the music business in Europe and the US. And in 1995, I had been busy doing music stuff and audio stuff. And then one day I got a phone call from this company saying, "Oh, do you do video?" And I said, "Yes." And had to learn on the first job. And I found I really loved it. And I've been doing that ever since, amongst other things. But then about 2 months later, another company called and said, "Oh, we want you to do a video project." And I said, "What for?" And they said, "The internet." This was 1995. And I said, "What's that?" And they said, "Oh, you got to check this out." So I went over to their offices, started looking on the web, which back then was really bland. It was just text and blue links. And occasionally, if you got lucky, a picture. And it was like, whoa, a picture. Over the next 3 months, I and my partner started surfing the web, meeting all sorts of great people all over the world, having a blast, going, whoa, this is incredible, learning so much. And at some point, we said, we want to give something back to this incredible community that we have gained so much from. So we started looking at, well, what can we put on the internet that isn't there? And we thought about it, and we thought, well, let's do a directory of all the best sites that we've come across. So we started building that, and we launched it, and people liked it. But then I realized that all the stuff that we were looking at could be much more interesting in the metaphor of a town, because the music stuff could be in the music hall, concert hall, books, literature could be in the library, shopping could be in the mall, that kind of stuff. So we decided to build it as a town. At that time, there were no towns on the internet. And then we started looking at, well, what kind of town? And then we said, well, let's set it 100 years in the future, because that way we can create whatever we like. So we did. And then just to shoot ourselves in the foot, we said, let's do it in multi-user 3D virtual reality. Which, if you remember how slow the modems were back then, it was quite a feat to get people to interact with each other in 3D in a virtual reality environment where they could see what each other were doing and exchange objects and all sorts of stuff. But we pulled it off, and it grew. It became very, very popular. And it grew to 1.3 million members, which back in those days was pretty significant. It was receiving 1.5 billion hits a year before we sold it. It was in the top 2,500 sites in the world in terms of traffic. And there was a period of about 7 years when you couldn't go to any one of 160 countries and not find either a magazine article or a TV show about it. So because I was the community manager running and growing this thing, I got to learn a lot about the internet and interacting with people on the internet. And that's where I learned the mistakes and what to do about them. We attracted partnerships with USA Networks, the Sci-Fi Channel, because we were sci-fi oriented, Sony Interactive, Intel, Hallmark, SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. They're now working on trying to find out if there's intelligent life on Earth. Which, if you've seen the news recently, you might wonder. Major movie companies, the guys who made the movie Independence Day, Warner Brothers, record companies. We did the first online Star Trek convention in 3D virtual reality. And in 2002, after being glued to the computer with 1.3 million members in 160 countries, almost 24/7, I went, whoa, I need my life back. And so I pulled out, sold it. 2 years later, Facebook appeared. And I went, no thanks, been there, done that. But that's why I don't have a Twitter account or Instagram or TikTok. But anyway, since then I've been making videos, live streaming, doing internet marketing consulting, digging deeply into AI, as you'll see tonight. And I'm now involved in video podcasting and various metaverse projects. The metaverse is the 3D virtual reality internet where all the different places on the internet in 3D virtual reality come together into a giant experiential trip. And also this community that I'm just going to show you a little bit more about, which I sold in 2002, it went offline in 2012, but what's fun for me right now is it's coming back online. So this was the front screen. It was all animated and had music and stuff. So in an internet that was text and blue links, when people came across this, it was like, whoa. And they told their friends. This was a lot of the different parts of the town with people interacting and dancing together in 3D and doing all sorts of stuff. And you see at the top where it says AI chatbot. That was actually an AI chatbot that we built back 25 years ago.
Oh my God.
She would listen to all the conversations in the town in the numerous different locations. And when new people and visitors asked questions, she'd pop in and answer their questions. And she was very popular.
Mm-hmm.
This was some of the press, the international press that we got at the time.
Yes.
All right, so what we're going to cover is what is AI, the AI frenzy that you're going to see even more of than you have been seeing already. What can AI tools do? How to use AI for content creation. How to use AI for image and video creation. And a whole bunch of other AI tools. And this thing is moving so fast that I finished writing this seminar, putting it together Sunday night. By Monday, 5 new tools that I had to include were launched, so I had to add them. Last night and this morning, 2 more came that I had to add. So it's accelerating at an unbelievable rate. The future and who is going to be affected by it and in what ways, because there's going to be some incredibly positive effects, but there's going to be some negative effects, which I'm going to guide you a little bit at the end on how to avoid the negative effects. So what is AI? Artificial intelligent tools are computer programs that use machine learning to mimic the problem-solving and decision-making capabilities of the human mind. And where is AI at? Well, there are now more than 3,000 such tools available to us, many of them free, on the internet, with many, many more being released every single day. It's predicted there will be 10,000 by the end of 2023. So what can AI do? They can do, in literally seconds, things that could easily take a human being hours. Thus, they enable you to get far more done, and far more quickly and easily. So a couple of quick examples. 1 to 2 hours copywriting work takes them maybe 10 minutes. 20 video titles in 30 seconds, instead of 30 minutes for 6. And this year, there's a very prestigious contest for photographers called the Sony World Photography Awards. And a beautiful photograph won this year. And then it was revealed that it wasn't a photograph at all. It was created by an AI. And so the guy who created it with his AI said, look, it's not a photograph. I can't accept the award. But it showed how far the technology has come, which you're going to see quite a lot of shortly. Okay, speed of AI progress. Things that AI can do and the quality of which they can do them in 2023 has reached what was predicted for 2030.
Wow.
Yeah. AI capabilities are advancing at an unbelievable pace, and AI is the new gold rush with Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Nvidia, Apple. Apple's kind of being rather late to the game. They haven't really announced anything, so either they're going to announce something utterly spectacular or not, we'll see, but everybody else is rushing like crazy into this frenzy, and they're racing to be the dominant force in AI. AI this year became verifiably more accurate in medical diagnoses than medical doctors. Yeah, which is kind of fortunate because medical doctors are the third highest cause of death in the US, according to the British Medical Journal. But yeah, it was quite an achievement to get to the point where they could beat the top medical doctors in correct diagnosis every time. AIs now recognize and can accurately and in detail describe what they, quote, see in images and videos. You can show an AI a video or a picture, and they will describe accurately what's in it. And this is the trend. You can see 2000, starts 2018, April 2022, October 22, pretty flat. And then this year, you see that massive rush upwards. Okay, now this is kind of interesting because there's an image program that we're going to go into in more depth tonight called Midjourney. In February of 2022, somebody asked Midjourney to create a picture of a boy with tears. So in February 2022, that's what it came up with. 2 or 3 months later, you'll see what it was able to do. Then July 25th, 2022, it was getting a little bit better, right? They were all done between February 22 and May 2023 using the same exact text input. November the 5th, 2022, March 15th, and May the 3rd. Do you see how in a year, how it's accelerated its understanding and capabilities? And you're going to see a lot more stuff tonight that's even more dramatic than that. Yeah, it shows how fast machines can learn and improve and how fast AI is evolving. Okay, here's another one where I think this was version 3. Yeah, July. Someone put in, paint me a picture of a cat in an armchair, right? And then November, quite a difference. Yeah. I mean, that from July to November, that's what extraordinary leap in capability.
With the same comment.
Exactly the same input, which was actually black cat on couch. I think it was black cat on couch. That's what it was. It's pretty wild. Here's another one going again through the same version 1 through 5. We're now at version 5.1, which is even better. So you see it just keeps improving. So what can AI tools do? I created a list of about 100 things that AI tools can do. But instead of overwhelming you with that list, I'm going to take some key areas and show you what can be done. Consider how much time you or your staff spend on repetitive tasks, such as allocating budgets, developing ad copy, discovering insights in analytics, drafting social media updates, personalizing emails, qualifying leads, strategizing campaigns, testing creative content, and writing blog posts, etc. So, what we're going to look at first content, tools for creating content, then we'll look at tools for creating images, then we'll look at video, then music, and then a bunch of other things. So there are many tools available now for creating text-based content. My favorites are what are called ChatGPT, Bing Chat, and Merlin. How many people here, by raising your hands, use ChatGPT already? Good. That's about quarter to a third of the room. And I'm going to take you beyond ChatGPT, as you'll see. Since it only takes a second or two and it's free, I'll often try the same query in each of the tools and use the results that work best for what I'm doing. Jasper is also very good, but costs $39 a month. Now this is interesting. It says it's early days with Google's Bard, which is Google's version of ChatGPT, and Forefront, which is another tool using ChatGPT, only they've added the capability of having the AI interact with you as a persona, such as Snoop Dogg or President Trump or whoever it might be. I personally don't see any great need for that, but so I don't use Forefront. Agent GPT is a whole new thing whereby with these other tools, you'd basically ask it to do something, and then it would do it, and then you say, okay, based on that, can you do this, etc. Now, Agent GPT, you give them a goal, and they do a bunch of research on the web, they work out all the steps automatically and create the whole program. So it's another leap forward. Now, Bard, when it first came out a few months ago, was pretty weird. It didn't work well. But Google got on it and improved the hell out of it. And this week, they announced a 10x improvement, and I checked it, and it's really good now. So what the hell does ChatGPT stand for? Okay, GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. This means that it learns what to say by capturing information from the internet. It then uses all of this text to, quote, generate responses to questions or commands that someone might ask, the commands being to tell it what to do. Now, the problem with ChatGPT has been that when they launched it, they had done this massive deep dive into the internet up until September 2021. So all their data stopped at 2021. So that has been a major problem for people using ChatGPT because the data was out of date. But there's a Chrome extension called WebChatGPT, a free extension that adds current web access. So when I'm using ChatGPT, I always make sure I'm using that WebChatGPT as well. ChatGPT is very good for creative writing. It's free, and they have a plus version for $20 a month. Now, the other thing about ChatGPT is it's based on what they call ChatGPT version 3 and 3.5. Since then, ChatGPT version 4 has come out, which is way better, has far more capability, far more data available to it. And I'm going to show you some ChatGPT 4 tools, but just this week, ChatGPT is adding GPT-4 to its Plus version, which will give it web access. But I can say we don't even have to wait for that because there are tools already that have that. Now, because it's really, really popular, it can crash, apparently, or you can get a sign that says, at capacity. I haven't personally run into that, but I found that if it does, you can go to the playground, which is that address at the bottom. By the way, there's going to be a lot of links and a lot of stuff tonight. So rather than you guys having to try and write stuff down or take photographs or whatever, anyone who wants the slides, just email me and I'll give you my address at the end and I'll send you the full slides.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank you.
All right, so that's ChatGPT, which is the most well-known one and is used the most. However, Bing, Microsoft, came out with an addition to the Microsoft Edge browser. And it has GPT-4. It also has image creation built in. And shortly we're going to compare them because they each have pluses and minuses. That's why I like to put the same query into all three. And now with Bard 4 and see what I get. It's very interesting, the differences. But so it has web access. It's usually good when searching for information is involved. Lets you use ChatGPT-4 for free. It gives links to the sources of what it found, as does ChatGPT now. It didn't until recently. And it includes images and videos in its responses. And it gives suggested next questions. It also generates images. Can be a little bit finicky. Sometimes you'll ask it something and it'll go, I don't really want to answer that. Something. Which I haven't run into with the other ones, but it's pretty rare. But I mean, you do get into conversations with these AIs, as the guys who are using it know. And there's another one called Merlin, and Merlin actually is, I think, my favorite. He's a sweetheart. I mean, really, because his answers are really, really good. And I really like the communication cycle that I have with Merlin. Plus, he does a lot of other things that the other ones don't. Now, Merlin is a Chrome extension, or actually an extension for any browser. So once you install this free extension, Merlin sits in the corner, and you go to a website, or you put a search in Google, and Merlin will quickly summarize all the websites that came up in the search results and give you a summary, so you don't have to spend all that time researching for something. He'll answer your question in seconds. He'll also do the same with videos. If you don't want to watch a 1 or 2 hour video, you can get a summary in a few seconds of the major points, which saves me an immense amount of time, because I'm doing a ton of research on AI on YouTube, because there's so much stuff coming up about it. And I don't want to watch an hour video when I can get the information in 30 seconds. Okay, yeah. So it's great Merlin is great for research and sometimes good for creative writing. It also uses ChatGPT for free. It can be a little slower than the others, but its GPT-4 setting can sometimes do better than them on the same query. It's free, and the pro version is $19 a month. Yeah, I use the free version because it gives me plenty of things to do. So like I say, it'll summarize YouTube videos, it'll summarize blogs, it'll summarize and help you reply to emails on Gmail. It'll write responses for you in social media if you want. And it kind of sits in the corner of your browser, your Gmail, your text messages, your social media. So it's there all the time, so you can get the information you want super fast. But you do need to remember to turn web access on and switch it to GPT-4. And I forget that so often. I'll probably forget it tonight, so you can yell at me and say, turn it on, when we get there. So what is a prompt? Because we're going to be covering the subject of prompts a lot. A prompt is what you write in a text box to ask the AI a question or tell it what to do. It's how you communicate with the machine. As my good friend and genius marketer Laura Betterly, owner of Promptly, which I'll tell you a little bit about in a moment, put it, deep learning networks are the next frontier of the commercial internet. AI is destined to become the overlay for not only search engines, but also creative work, busy work, memo writing, research, homework, sketching, outlining, storyboarding, and teaching. Now, funnily enough, when she wrote this, I think this was a few months ago, it's already doing all these things. It will remake the world. One vital skill of the 21st century will be talking to machines. And for now, that process involves writing, or in the tech vernacular, engineering prompts. So, we're going to go a little bit into prompts. Simple prompts versus super prompts, or what on YouTube they call epic prompts. Prompts can go from very simple to very sophisticated. The more detailed the prompt, usually the better the result. Here's a simple prompt. What are the benefits of stem cell therapy? Here's a more sophisticated one. Write a 1,000-word article on the benefits of stem cell therapy, include how it affects people in different age groups, and include a brief transformational case study. Write it in a friendly style. You can even say, well, I'll show you in a minute what, because it's so wild. And here's an even more sophisticated one targeted at patients. Act as a healthcare professional and explain to a patient the benefits of stem cell therapy and how it can improve their overall well-being. Explain why stem cell therapy is a safe and effective treatment option for various medical conditions and describe the potential positive outcomes for the patient. Now, this is known as a role prompt, where you give the AI a role and you say, be a math teacher and solve this problem for me, or be a painter in the style of Monet and do this or whatever. You give them an actual role, and those prompts are very effective. All right, now I'm going to show you two versions of a prompt. One produced absolutely stellar results, the other one so-so, and you'll probably be able to guess which is which. But this is the first one. It said, write me 20 questions I should ask of a business in order to determine which AI tools would be best for their particular circumstances. And then the second one, if you were going to consult a small business as to the best AI tools for them to use, particularly in the areas of text, graphics, video, audio, and website content creations, what questions would you ask them? And you probably know the second one was, the second one was absolutely the one that produced phenomenal results. First one was fine, except the results were kind of dry and kind of sterile and actually missed some key things. Another thing, you can paste into ChatGPT or one of the others this prompt, which is fix the spelling, punctuation, grammar, and sentence structure of the text above, and list what you changed. So it's an instant proofreader, and it can do whole books. Now, as I go through this, if you get the idea that there's going to be a lot of people being out of jobs, you're absolutely correct. It's estimated at 300 million. However, they don't have to, and you'll see why a little bit later. You can also ask for the result to be in the style of another writer. You can say, okay, I've written this nice piece here. Now I'll rewrite it in the style of Ernest Hemingway. And that's what it'll do. Or to be written so as to be understood by a 6-year-old. You can actually, you get something back and it's horribly technical, etc. You say, great, the information's great, but please do that for a 3-year-old or a 6-year-old or whatever. And you get a completely different version, same information, but that could be understood by a much younger person. So a few things you can ask for from your personal friendly AI. You can ask for advice on pretty much anything. You can ask for detailed information, product research, outlines for books, PowerPoint presentations. Thank you, Merlin, for this one. Merlin did this PowerPoint presentation that we're watching now. Video and podcast screens. And the video scripts are great because they give you the camera shots and everything. Storyboards, blog posts, articles, social media posts with images, SEO optimized website content, translations, book proofing and editing, lists of great titles. Those beeps we keep hearing here are the guys in the Zoom meeting doing stuff. Promotional copy in the styles of legendary copywriters, resumes, business ideas, exercise plans, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. You can ask the AI to write and reply to emails and social media posts, summarize multiple web pages and long YouTube videos in an instant, and I mean in an instant. How it does it, I have no clue. I go to a YouTube video, I'm just about to press play, and the AI has already gone through the 2-hour video and given me the summary on the right-hand side of the screen with, the 8 key points, plus the whole thing if I wanted, and each one can be expanded upon, which is pretty amazing. You can ask it to role-play an upcoming interview that you might be having. You can make a legal document less formal and more understandable. You can tell you what you need to know for pretty much any situation. And the advice they're giving these days is, extraordinarily good. Extraordinarily good. You can get it to write your online course in minutes. Build or edit your website. You can literally build a website in minutes. And another thing, as you'll see a little bit later, it can take an existing website built in any other format and convert it to WordPress. And a lot of you guys know what WordPress is. It's a the top thing on the web. Okay. And you can get it to write code, computer code. You can say, I need an app that does blah. Write me the code. And it does in seconds. You can even take a photo of what's left in your fridge and ask for recipes for what you have. This is actually Bard, the one that got improved this week. And what I like about how they've improved it is I asked ChatGPT and Bing and Merlin, I said, what is the difference between ChatGPT and Agent GPT? And those three of them kind of beat around the bush and wouldn't give me a straight answer for some reason. First time I'd ever run into that. And went to Bard, and Bard not only gave me a great answer, but it gave me a table that showed the features of each of them in different areas. So I'm much more impressed with Bard than I was even a week ago. Now, I received an email that asked me, on the 4 levels of motivations that influence all of your behavior, which one influences your behavior, and what happens when these motivations go wrong or turn negative? And I thought, I know what. I'm going to ask Merlin to reply in the style of Donald Trump. And on the next slide is what Merlin came up with, and he really has a sense of humor. You want me to read it, or can you read it? Okay. Dear Roger, first of all, thank you for your message. I must say I really appreciate your interest in my behavior and motivations. It's not every day that people recognize my greatness and want to learn from me. Now, to answer your question, as one of the most successful businessmen in the world, I am driven by all 4 levels of motivations: the physiological, emotional, mental, and spiritual. I know what I want, and I never give up until I get it. That's why I'm the best, and there's no one like me. But let me tell you, when these motivations go wrong or turn negative, it's a disaster. It's like a weak healthcare plan or a fake news report. Believe me, I've seen it all. But unlike some people, I never let setbacks or failures get in my way. I rise above them and come out even stronger. That's what winners like me do. So my advice to you is follow my lead and always strive for greatness. Don't let negativity or weakness hold you back. Believe in yourself, work hard, and you too can achieve your dreams. Trust me, it's going to be tremendous. Thank you again for your message. Best regards, Donald J. Trump.
Wow.
Isn't that brilliant?
It is, yes.
And you can choose anybody to write responses to email.
would not have answered you in any
Oh,
The fun part is Merlin will read this and tomorrow quote it back to you as fact.
All right. So now because these tools are grabbing the information from the internet, they're going to occasionally, you're going to find stuff that is somebody else's writing where they haven't quite tweaked. I haven't personally run into this yet, but I know that it does happen. So there's a tool called GPT-0, which basically you just take your output from one of the GPTs and put it in GPT-0, and it finds anything that is plagiarized. And then this one, Quillbot, will paraphrase what you wrote to make it not plagiarized. And all this stuff is done in a split second, so it's very fast. There's another one that will humanize your GPT content. In my experience, especially recently, this stuff is getting so human, I haven't needed to humanize anything. For optimizing your prompts. Prompt Perfect. Basically, you can put in a prompt and it will tweak it until it's a perfect prompt to get you the best results. And there's a community of prompt sharers called PromptDen, and they create some great role prompts. AI PRM also helps you refine your prompts. And just this morning, I found something called ChatSonic, which is like ChatGPT on steroids. It's GPT-4, but it also includes 100 already pre-built templates for marketing and for emails and for anything, blogs, anything you like. You just click the template. YouTube Instant Video Summarizer. This one is actually my favorite one because I've tried half a dozen different ones that weren't quite satisfactory, but this one I love. 85. And like I say, you don't have to remember any of this because you'll get the slides. If there's anybody at the back who can't see it, it's basically if you find ChatGPT to be too complicated, this is CatGPT. All right, so I did a test on ChatGPT, Bing Chat, Merlin, and Bard, and I asked it, you're a marketing consultant, what are the questions that you would ask small business owners in order to best advise them on their marketing? And it was very interesting, the results, because ChatGPT, with the Web Access plugin, it came up with 7 questions to ask, and it missed some key ones, but it did show the sources. Bing found 8 questions, but it also missed different questions. When combined with ChatGPT, it then came up to a pretty useful combination of questions. But Merlin came up with 10 questions, and by far they were the very best questions. And I could have either combined ChatGPT and Bing Chat, or just gone with Merlin. And I went with Merlin because it was great. He even said at the beginning, "That's a great question." So he had me already. Bard came up with 8 good questions, plus good suggestions for more areas to research. So that's why, at the moment, I don't believe there's one perfect one of these tools. There's probably 100 of these tools. But these 4 I found to be great, especially when used together. This is a tool that came out very recently called Designer. And what it does is you describe the design you'd like the AI to create in the left there, say an Instagram post about my cosmetic product launch on April the 1st. And you've got a load of templates on the right-hand side that you can choose from as your starting point. But you can add an image, and it uses AI image generation to generate the image that you request. And so it's a very fast way to design ads for Facebook or posts for Instagram or TikTok or wherever. So the people who haven't seen any of these tools, would you like to see one of these in action?
Yes, definitely.
All right, so let me see. Let's go to, all right. So what would you like to ask it?
How to improve membership to the computer club.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Took too long.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm sorry it's so slow.
Yeah, they couldn't read the question to me back then. They didn't see the question.
Oh, the question I asked, I said, we have a computer club that helps seniors learn computer skills. What are ways that we could promote the club? It gave me 7. It gave me the sources here, and it gave me 7 different things, which I'll forward to you, Doug.
Yes, that's right. Send it to me, please.
And you can also say expand upon this. So anyway, that's one of the tools. Bard is similar, except it's dark. Actually, let's ask Bard the same question.
We probably needed to zoom in a little bit because
Yeah, we are recording it. Yeah, so it lists a bunch of ways to promote and some additional tips. ChatGPT was more thorough. Let's see what Merlin has to say. See, Merlin sits there all the time in the corner until I summon him. So far, Merlin's the winner. And I can say expand on the above answer.
Was the question worded exactly the same for both?
For all three, yeah. And I said expand on that, and they're now giving me a bunch more. Or more details on each. So can you guys see how useful this can be? What I like also is the fact that when I'm researching something, I used to have to put in a search in Google, and then it would bring up 20 sites, and I'd have to go through the sites trying to find the thing I'm looking for. Now Merlin gives me the summary on the spot of those 20 sites that answers my exact question.
The search of the search.
Yeah. And also, there's also the other one, which is Bing. And we could ask the same question. So it's coming up with some of the same ones that the other guys came up with. And Bing can also include in its answers pictures and videos and all sorts of stuff. So anyway, that gives you a quick idea of the content tools. Let's go back here. And now we're going to look at some graphics tools.
There we go.
There are many, many AI tools available for creating graphics from text. I've tested more than a dozen of these tools, and my favorites are called Midjourney and Leonardo. And we're going to take a look at both of them. Now, one thing that has not been ideal in these tools is if your image contained text, they would produce alien kind of writing. But that's now been solved by other tools called Deep Floyd, Stable Diffusion XL, and the latest version of DALL-E 2. DALL-E was the first of these tools that came out, and now they've got text working good, and it's expected in Midjourney 6. We're at 5.1 now. Oh, here's a tip. You can ask ChatGPT to look on the web for ideal Midjourney and Leonardo prompts and then adjust them to what you need, because they have a very specific way, as you'll see, of asking the prompt, asking the question to create the image, because you've got to explain to the AI what you want to see, which is a little harder than writing a text prompt, as you can imagine. You've got to be kind of detailed about what you want to see. So you can ask ChatGPT, look on the web and see the ideal way to write a Midjourney prompt and write a prompt for an image that does blah-de-blah. Just before we get into that, there's a ton of tools now that do image enhancement. So if you've got a blurry picture, you can see what the AI does in a split second. It's pretty good, huh?
Nice job.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that the one on the left was pretty much unusable. It was blurry. And then AI really brought it to life.
It doesn't matter what it does. Looking through my eyes on a Sunday morning, that's what I'll see.
Okay. All right, so Midjourney. Actually, I'm going to show you some examples before we go into Midjourney. But all those images are done by Midjourney. Leonardo is the other tool that I really like. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at some images created in Midjourney and Leonardo. The first ones are mostly created by a graphics dabbler, me. But I even got some favoriting from some people who saw them, so they weren't too bad. Then we'll see some created by professionals. These first ones that you'll see are when I just very first opened the program and said, what can you do? And then I just started asking it for things. And then we'll actually go and play in Midjourney and Leonardo. So I said, give me a gorilla getting his degree. And that's what it came up with. Then I asked for a bizarre sea creature, and it gave me that. Then I wanted a futuristic city. Then I wanted a car design. And can you imagine the difference this is going to make in so many of these fields where car designers who spend months coming up with a design can try 100 designs in minutes and say, okay, that's a great one to use as inspiration. And house designers, there are AI tools now. You can take a photo of your room and say, give me some alternate furniture stylings for this room. And you'll see like a dozen different things. You go, oh, I really like that.
Wow.
Then tiger coming out of a bubble.
Are there special requirements for the computer to use this software?
I've run it on all sorts of things, including my phone.
Oh, okay. Are these created or are they pulled from content?
No, they're generated fresh by the AI from the prompt, from what you've asked it to create.
I have a question. I have a friend that is an artist that she was going to be copying by AI in the world, very handsome. And you see the AI with and what it does, it takes works out there and then
Well, if you say you want something done in the style of Leonardo da Vinci, it will look on the web at all the different paintings and drawings from Leonardo and then create what you're asking for in that style.
if you look at our Facebook page, I asked I believe it was Dolly to do a picture of his computer in the style of Peter Max. And when you get home, go to our Facebook page and look at it. It's a picture of a painting of a computer in the style of Peter Max.
Yeah. Okay, we have to move on. So, like I say, I just gave it some things and it created them out of. This is one where it came up with how humans may look in the future. This one, all I put in was one word: surrealism.
Wow.
And it's pretty amazing. And this one was proof of aliens in China. And of course, that is a real photograph. So they can get some very atmospheric photographic images. And here's stuff done by professionals.
Oh. So these are not real people.
No, none of these are photographs. They're created from
Movie
scratch from the.
industry would probably take advantage of this kind of information, right?
Yes.
I think you can bet on that.
Yeah. But in these ones, the person has actually said, shot by this camera with this lens with this lighting, and it knows these things and it creates them.
You made all these?
No, isn't that beautiful? Somebody said to me that AI art doesn't have soul. But in my experience, if I get an emotional reaction or impact from a piece of art, I don't care who did it or where it came from.
How much information you have to put in there? You have to color the hair, except the color of the eyes, or just it does, period.
Well, you can give as little or as much as you like. If you give less, it will create more. If you give very specific, it'll create specific results. When you first go into Midjourney, which I'll show you in a moment, first thing you should do is just type /settings, because then you can go in and set it up the way you want it. And I'll show you that in a minute. And then you basically look on the left-hand side for titled the Newcomer Room, like Newbies 91, and then you can just go in there and start creating to your heart's content and experimenting and finding what works and what doesn't. And to type a prompt in Midjourney, you start with /imagine is the actual prompt. Now, this is a bunch of tips that I found that I'm not going to go through all now because there isn't time, but you'll see them on the slides. These will save you a lot of learning time in Midjourney. This one, lexica.art, it finds the prompts behind the images. You can show it any image and it'll show you the prompt that created that image. You can also do that within Midjourney and within Leonardo. And you can generate your own versions of something you really like. So Leonardo is... how many people here don't know what Discord is? Discord? Okay, Discord is a very, very popular community software on the web used by just so many people and companies just for getting together and special interest groups together where they can chat with text or voice, exchange images, videos, and even include software. Now, Midjourney is built in one of these Discord places, as are many of the others. Leonardo is not. It has its own separate interface, which I prefer, but we'll see in a moment. And these are some Leonardo tips which you can get from the slides. This is one where I just asked Leonardo, I said, a beautiful futuristic house, bright day, vibrant details, luxurious, hyper-realistic, elegant, beautiful background with garden. And on the left is what Leonardo did, and on the right is what Midjourney did. And sometimes one is better than the other for the same prompt, and sometimes the other one is better. So, you want to go to Midjourney?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so to get to Midjourney, we have to go first to Discord. Discord also, apart from the browser version, it has a downloadable desktop version, which I use a lot. All of these things on the left, they're different communities that I belong to, including here, the Cybertown one. So Midjourney is here. So now what we see here is, I'm in room Newbies 91, and let me see, yeah, these are people actually now creating stuff. They give you 4 versions to choose from when you ask to create something. So these are newbies trying out things. Something not normally it says in the bottom right, it says jump to the present, and you can scroll down. There's a scroll, but I don't see the jump to present, so I'm going to try and get to the present. And so if I put in imagine, all right, a blue cat in a tree with a strawberry t-shirt. I have no idea what it's going to do. I'm going to go hyper-realistic.
Did you read the prompt provided to us?
Yeah, if I can read it. And I will read it in a minute. Hyper-realistic. I wrote a blue cat in a tree with a strawberry t-shirt, hyper-realistic. So there it is. It says waiting to start. These take longer than text things to build.
So what does it do when you think? It looks around at all kinds of images and collect something out of it to generate some another image.
It's like a t-shirt.
You got the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny if I can ask, which do you prefer person in Midjourney or Leonardo?
It's one day it's Leonardo, one day it's Midjourney. It totally depends what's giving me the best result. In this instance, it's not giving me. My prompt wasn't. The thing is with prompts for the graphics programs, you do this kind of trial and error because it has to understand what you want. And here I obviously didn't give it enough information to understand what I want, but what it did was.
That's so great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
There you
There's
go.
the-
Oh, it's put the cat in the tree with the strawberries as a T-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty nice, huh?
Nice. Very small.
Oh, to the person who asked who owns the copyright, right now anything you create in AI is yours and you can sell it. And people are selling Midjourney generated art on Etsy and all sorts of places. And they're selling them to stock photo companies and doing quite well. Yeah, well, I'm going to go back to here because you have a number of choices. Jump to present. There we go.
Oh, look at the
Yeah, here I can choose number 1, which is this one, number 2, number 3, or number 4, and upscale it, which means make it high res for printing and stuff like that. Here I can say, I like number 4, give me some variations. I say, give me variations on that particular one.
the eye, colors of the eye. Oh.
So anyway, that's how Midjourney works. What we're going to do is let's do the same prompt in Leonardo and see what happens. So let's go.
So I'm wearing a t-shirt. Wearing a t-shirt.
Just to be
Not on the t-shirt. It's not a strawberry colored t-shirt. Strawberry.
I know, I wasn't specific enough. And just to be fair to both of them, I'm going to use exactly the same prompt.
Yeah.
So here we go into Leonardo.
I understand.
Now, Leonardo has a whole different way of doing things. Up here are models that or by models they mean systems, graphic systems that you can choose from, and you can say, well, I like this, but let me see stuff that's being created with it, and then you can choose to use that model to create your own. Let me go back. Then here they've got recent creations by people, and you can also see them upscaled over here. There's a community feed with community images. There's your own feed, and then there's also the image generation section, which is where we're going to go. And I'm going to put in that same prompt. And I'm going to say, you can also put in negative stuff of things you don't want in the image. I think I'll use the Leonardo diffusion. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to use that model. And let's see what it does. Oh, and Leonardo gives you 150 tokens every day. And these 4 images are costing me 7 tokens. So I can do a lot of stuff in a day.
Is this a subscription or free model?
It's free. This is the free part.
Oh. Where's the t-shirt now?
Okay, so this one, it got it right. It got the blue cat right.
Yeah.
It forgot the strawberries. So
Strawberries
we
and the t-shirt.
yeah, so we would amend the prompt until we got what we wanted. It takes some trial and error. Oh, there's the strawberries.
It's still working.
Yeah.
Can you tell them we want a happy cat? A grumpy cat. I want a happy cat.
Well, let's try. Where are we? Image generation. Now, there's something else. I'm going to go into the main area. I'm going to show you something. There's so many things I could show you, but there really isn't time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you something that's pretty remarkable. I'm going to take, you see how it's showing the prompt? It tells you what the prompt is for each of these images. So you can use that as a guide. Let me find something. Actually, I'm going to go back to, oh no, I'm going to go back to something earlier. I'm going to show you something pretty remarkable that that was my first thing I tried. But actually, this might be one that we could use. See where it says edit in Canvas? What I can do is I can say, well, I like this image, but I want you to add more. I want you to extend it. So you can say, more peach stuff. And I could make that box bigger. I can make it do the whole of the right-hand side or the left-hand side. And it will give me some variations. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so the only really workable one was that one. So you see how it's extended the image. And you can take any image and add stuff to the right, the left, above, and below, and create a whole new image that's got a lot more stuff, which is pretty wild. Okay, so that's a quick look at, we could spend all night just on Leonardo and Midjourney.
Can you take real pictures and set it up for yourself and say,
Yeah, you can blend images. You can use an image of your own as a starting point, and you can determine how much of the blend you want or don't want. Yeah, absolutely.
make me look pretty?
Then go into their page and other people can access it too.
So look at this. This is another one that's taken a still photo. That's literally a still photo, and it's animated it.
I'm Lana Rose, a model who has worked tirelessly to make a name for myself in the fashion industry. Throughout my career, I've strived to embody confidence, poise, and grace both on and off the runway. However, my journey has not always been easy. I've faced my fair share of challenges and setbacks, particularly when I was ill-treated by a director.
That's another program that basically adds depth to a photo and moves it. There's like another photo, still photo, adding still. And when it comes to motion, animation, and video, here's another one, photos animated. We're in the early stages now. Where we were a year ago with Midjourney, for instance, and you saw how far things moved in a year. In a year's time, the stuff that they're going to be doing with video and is going to be quite spectacular. Okay, now this is, you guys are probably all familiar with Adobe. Adobe has gotten into this AI space, and they have a new tool called Firefly. And I'm going to show you a quick demo of Firefly because it's pretty impressive. And it's going to be built into Bard. So in other words, when you're writing creative stuff, You can say, I want an image of blah, 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 and I want it like this and that, and fix this and change that, and you'll be able to do it with Firefly. But this is a pretty neat tool. Okay, now we're going to look at some video tools. And like I say, video now, you're going to look at this stuff and go, well, that's pretty poor or pretty rough. But like I say, remember, in a year's time, it's going to be something else. So here's some video tools. Runway is probably the leader in this business of telling an AI to create a video, and it does. Pictory basically creates a complete video where you just tell it, you put in your script, it goes on the web, finds the videos that fit your script, adds the subtitles, adds the music, and puts the whole thing together. This one, these are ones for animating images, and which we saw a little bit before. This one creates YouTube shorts and reels from long videos instead of you having to do it manually. This one creates talking videos. So anyway, I'll show you. So these are all just created with a prompt. So like I say, pretty poor right now, but when you look at the fact that you're just telling a computer, a robot, a machine to create something out of nothing, and then you look at where it's going to be in a year's time, it's going to be quite something.
Right here, other things, it might be 6 months.
That's right, it is accelerating, you're right. Absolutely. Good point.
4 months.
Right. That's probably right.
Some say that truth is a reflection of our reality. We are used to defining it with our very own senses. But what if our reality is changing? What if we can no longer rely on our senses to determine the authenticity of what we see and hear? We're at the dawn of artificial intelligence, and already the lines between real and fiction are becoming blurred. A world where shadows are mistaken for the real thing. And sometimes we need to radically change our perspective to see the things the way they really are.
Okay, this is some more, as I say, a little bit hokey, but we'll get better. Oh, this is interesting because the prompt was simply go from a dystopian future society, go through the steps and stages to become something much more pleasant. And this is what it did. Okay, Now the next one, okay, this is actually, these next two are actual real music videos with the band called Limp Bizkit, I think. Is it Linkin Park? Yeah, these are actual videos that were created entirely with AI.
Push it away, but it's pulling me in. Trying to pretend I'm not aware when I do it again. I know the signs, I see the pattern in front of my eyes. Something inside me open and wide, stretching and coming alive. I can't stop it when it starts. Trying not to fall apart. Building up until it all goes dark. In my head, I can feel it getting closer. My shoulder, and I'm trying to fake it, but there's no way to escape it in my head. Just a scar somewhere down inside of me, something I cannot repair, even though it will always be. I pretend it isn't there. I'm trapped in yesterday, where the pain is all I know, and I'll never break away, 'cause when I'm alone, I'm lost in these memories, living behind my own illusion, lost all my dignity, living inside my own confusion, but I'm tired.
So it's already being used in professional work.
What prompt would you give it to use to make a piece of music?
We're coming to that. This company, basically, you can put.
Outstanding.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you. This one, you can upload a picture of yourself, and you'll record some text or some voice, and it will have your picture come to life and put the text, the voice, with your lips in sync, which is how they do deep fakes. Unfortunately, deep fake is now available to all of us. Okay, some audio tools. And it used to be that computer-generated voices and voiceovers were pretty robotic, and you could instantly tell when it was a computer voice, right? I'm going to show you a couple in a moment where that's a much harder thing to do. The first one comes from 11 Labs, and Deep Image also has a bunch of great tools. There's a company that I think a number of people here use called Descript, and they have a thing called Studio Sound, where you can put in bad audio and it will turn it into the equivalent of studio sound. But you have to be very, very careful, because if you do it at 100%, which a lot of people do, because they go, oh, all the noise is gone, but then they don't listen to see how degraded the audio has become. You have to use it more like 60, 70%. But I'm going to show you very quickly. I'm not going to show you, this is what we can do with AI now, is we can take music tracks that were recorded 20 years ago, and all that's left is this final stereo 2 tracks. And we can now extract the bass, the drums, the voices, the background, pianos, strings, everything separate, and then rework it. But there isn't really time to go into all that. But I'll show you a quick before and after with AI. Here's a recording with heavy room echo.
Hi, I'm Adon Lopez. This is my brother Fernando. Together we have been trained and worked with some of the best strength.
And here's after AI cleaned it.
Hi, I'm Adán Lopez. This is my brother Fernando. Together we have been trained and work with some of the best.
So all the room echo is gone. There's tons of stuff on, this is my AI page at my site. There's tons of stuff you can listen to there. But let's go back to the show. Yeah, so we're going to go to the next one. So this is that place I told you about, 11 Labs.
The voice you hear was artificially generated using speech synthesis software developed by 11 Labs. The input was pure text and no corrections were made. The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Chapter 1. In my younger and more vulnerable years, my father gave me some advice that I've been turning over in my mind ever since. Whenever you feel like criticizing anyone, he told me, just remember that all the people in this world haven't had the advantages that you've had. He didn't say any more, but we've always been unusually communicative in a reserved way, and I understood that he meant a great deal more than that. In consequence, I'm inclined to reserve all judgments, a habit that has opened up many curious natures to me and also made me the victim of not a few veteran bores. The abnormal mind is quick.
See here how it has more inflections and more than we're used to. And here's another one from the same company.
I stand before you not as an expert, but as a concerned citizen.
One of the 400,000 people who marched in the streets of New York on Sunday.
And the billions of others around the world who want to solve our climate crisis.
As an actor, I pretend for a living. I play fictitious characters, often solving fictitious problems.
I believe that mankind has looked at climate change in that same way, as if it were a fiction.
As if pretending that climate change wasn't real would somehow make it go away. But I think we all know better than that now.
So it's pretty wild what you can do. Let me see. Okay, now I'm going to show you some music programs. And these ones, instead of buying a music track for your video or whatever, you can tell the AI to generate a fresh one. This company, Mubert, is used by a lot of people in AI. I'm really not impressed with it, but I'll play you a little bit of what it does. This example is not too bad, but could be better. So I'm going to go to the next one. This one is also used by a lot of people. This one I think is terrible. And Spotify announced this week that they're removing tracks created with this particular one. It's just very repetitive and not very interesting. Now this one I like a lot better, this company. In fact, I've created 20 things with this company and they've all come out very interesting. It's yours, yeah. AI stuff right now is yours.
Okay, that's what
There are some companies that have multiple tools, like 20, 30 different tools in the same site. Runway is a good example of that. These are all really good. Like Runway does just so many things. transform any image with nothing but words, expand an image to infinite size, text to image, remove the background of a video without a green screen, expand the image, do super slow motion, erase sections of the video, changing the backgrounds, making variations of the images, detecting the different scenes, adding a blurred background, blurring faces. I mean, just lots of, oh yeah, painting out a person on the beach. And tools like this are like $15 a month, and they do just tons of things. Adding a background, doing motion tracking, where you're tracking something that's moving, and doing all sorts of things with it, which previously took months and hundreds of thousands of dollars to do. Some other tools, Tome basically auto-creates PowerPoint presentations. Skybox, I'll show you what it does. I just said, give me an alien landscape with 2 or 3 pianos or planets or something. And it did this in about 20 seconds. Yeah, so it can create all sorts of things that usually would take an incredible amount of time to do. Otter takes online meeting notes and then summarizes them for you. This one converts websites. This one creates short stories. This one translates videos into different languages and synchronizes the lips. This one does customized email marketing. This one is an all-in-one multi-tool AI assistant for project management for companies and much more. This one creates hundreds of beautiful online ads in seconds that convert up to 14 times higher than normal. Just a few announcements from just this week. This one came out. This was stuff that was just announced this week. A program from the same company who makes ChatGPT that now will create 3D objects. Anything like an avocado chair or whatever it might be. And then another one creates 3D worlds, kind of like we just saw a little bit, but I'm going to show you a bit more. This one turns audio into an image, and vice versa. This one is amazing. I don't know if I have, I think I do have something coming up that will demonstrate it. It converts your voice into perfect renditions in other languages in real time. So you'll see it in a moment. Google actually came out with a music generator that I think is a lot better than the 2 bad ones that I saw before. And this company came out with text to animation. So I'm going to show you some examples. So that was the prompt.
Welcome to NIRIC, the next frontier of personalized AI-generated gaming.
This is the kind of stuff that usually would take a very great deal amount of time to create, and AI creates it in minutes or seconds.
With millions of possibilities and growing, NIRIC is the ultimate sandbox for your imagination. The power to create and explore is in your hands. Are you ready to unleash your imagination?
Sorry, this is my wife. I'm gonna have to get this. Hello? Hey, babe. Hey, Bethany. How's it going?
Good. Are you with Ted?
Yeah, I'm on the red circle right now, actually. Let me show you something. Invisible devices should feel so natural to use that you almost forget about their existence.
Les appareils invisibles devraient sembler si naturels à utiliser. Vous oubliez presque leur existence.
You'll note that's me and my voice speaking fluent French using an AI speech model that's part of my own AI. This is not a deep fake. In fact, it's deeply profound. This is my AI giving me the ability to speak any language. Imagine this. You've been in meetings all day and you just want a summary of what you've missed. Catch me up.
Patrick is coming to tomorrow's design meeting. Bethany wants to move next week's dinner, and Oliver is asking about soccer this weekend.
These are emails, calendar invites, and messages all surfaced up to the top.
Party with a light summer vibe. I could see what this sounds like. And this is totally AI generated. A pop punk anthem from the early 2000s.
Yep. So animators that are used to spending months creating things like this can now do them at incredible speeds. So they can do many more projects.
How do they get money generating all of this and giving it away for free?
Well, they have usually they'll have a free version, and then as you want to go deeper and get more capabilities, it's $10 a month, $15 a month. So what about your job? What about jobs now that all this stuff? So March 31st, Goldman Sachs predicts that 300 million jobs will be lost or diminished by AI. May 10th, DeepMind co-founder warns that governments seriously need to find solutions for people who lose their jobs to AI. Which jobs will be most and least impacted? A 35-page report entitled GPT, etc., gave these predictions. So these are the jobs that are not going to get, and I'm going to summarize them in a moment, much impacted by AI. They're mostly physical laborers and that kind of thing, and motorcycle mechanics and the like. The kind of jobs that are going to get, so you don't have to read all that, it's medical doctors, website designers, copywriters, proofreaders, editors, video producers, audio engineers, interpreters, translators, teachers, graphic designers, animators, survey researchers, poets, lyricists, creative writers and authors, PR people, tax preparers, mathematicians, blockchain engineers, court reporters, captioning people, accountants, auditors, legal secretaries, administrative assistants, news analysts, reporters, journalists, SEO people, financial managers, insurance appraisers, investment fund managers, data managers, and many more. Those are the ones that are going to be most impacted by AI. But it sounds kind of gloomy, but it doesn't have to be, and here's why. There's a saying going around in the AI space, AI won't replace you. A person using AI likely will. Let's say you're a book editor, a translator, or graphic artist, voiceover artist, Audible book reader, teacher, website designer, copywriter, teacher, artist, or any person whose work can now be done by an AI tool. Do you give up and say, AI can do this now and way faster, I better find something else to do? No, you embrace it. You learn how to use the AI tools that do what you do. You learn how to talk to the machines, prompts, and you use them to dramatically speed up your delivery and the number of clients you can handle. If you're an artist, use what AI generates for inspiration for your work. And as I said before, artists are also now selling AI images at stock sites. And also prompt engineers are currently in high demand.
Yeah, good jobs.
Guys who create prompts for companies for their images and their text and whatever they want the AI to create. Yeah. However, it's predicted that within a year the AIs are going to be able to write their own prompts. So.
You just gotta keep up with it every year.
Yeah. When photography was invented, artists rose up in arms because people and images could now be captured in an instant. But it resulted in a whole new breed of artists and opportunities for artistic expression. And then when Photoshop came out, some photographers were aghast until they tried it, saw what it could do, and embraced it. No matter what your views on AI might be, there's no denying that it will majorly impact your life and already has in ways that you may not even be aware of. AI is not going away. Like any technology, evil people will use it for evil deeds, and good people would use it for good. Luckily, good people are the majority. Oh, and final thing, Walt Disney said, the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. So for those of you who'd like the slides, in the bottom left there is my email address, trockcliffe@gmail.com. trockliff@gmail.com. Oh, ouch. How cruel. How cruel. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So did you guys learn new things? Useful things? Good.